Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome inside the Guilty is Charged podcast film room. My name is Steven. It's been a while since I have done an offensive line breakdown. I had a crazy couple weeks at work, and then there was, the kind of that bridge of not having Game Pass. So it's been a while, but I'm happy to be here today to break down the Chargers performance from week 9 against the Eagles. Really excited to dive into everything. But before we do, have to give a shout out to my guy over at the Backroom Collection, doing some fire canvases for us and for other teams as well. If you're watching this as a casual non-Chargers observer, he has some other NFL teams, NBA teams as well. You can check him out at thebackroomcollection.net, at the Backroom COL2 on Twitter. You can use the code GAC, that's GAC in all caps, for a 10% discount. It's a wonderful gift for Christmas coming up, or birthdays, or holidays, or whatever the case may be. Great way for the fan in your life to spruce up everything. The canvas over my right shoulder of the Chargers rookies was made by him. So please go check him out on Twitter. Use the code GAC for 10% off. That being said, I wanted to dive into this, and it's going to be a little bit different than specifically analyzing like the performance of the offensive line. Going to get into a couple plays of that, but you've seen a bunch of the clips on Twitter, so I wanted to dive into a little bit more of the protection plan that the Chargers had in this one. We heard Brandon Staley talk about that. We heard Justin Herbert talk about that. We heard Keenan Allen talk about that. So I wanted to dive into what specifically that meant. And there has been a ton of Joe Lombardi hate on the internet. And I have always been very patient and, giving him his time. And I think to this point, he has been pretty solid outside of the Baltimore game, which I was very critical of. This performance that he put out and this game plan that he put out against the Philadelphia Eagles was the best version of the Chargers offense that we've seen under Joe Lombardi, in my opinion. Because what happened in the Cleveland game when they scored more points was a lot of broken coverages from the Eagles, or from the Browns, excuse me. And it was just a lot of great, hero ball from Justin Herbert. It was fun to watch. I was there in the stands, but like schematically, game plan, preparation wise, it wasn't Joe Lombardi's best work. This game against the Eagles was his best work. And I think we saw really what they said that they were going to do over the bye week come to fruition. It was a week late. Excuse me. But I'll take that. It's all about, better late than never at this point. So again, I think Joe Lombardi has been solid to this point, but this week 9 performance and game plan and protection plan that he put together for this team was his best performance of the season. Now you can get into giving a toss play to Joshua Kelly as a legitimate criticism. And there's some other things that I would love to see change in this offense as well. But, we have to call a spade, and we have to be honest. And this was Joe Lombardi's best performance, and it started with the protection plan. So let's get into it. One of the things that they said over the bye week was that they would really be emphasizing the quarterback movement game. Sounds very smart, right? Like, that's Justin Herbert. You have Justin Herbert as your quarterback, and this is one of his best skill sets. And they really leaned into it in this one, both in the bootlegs, as the RPO, as just simple naked bootleg concepts. So they did a lot of different things in this one. I counted 11 quarterback movement plays for Justin Herbert. And I think that is really the ratio that that I personally would like to see. He had 38 dropbacks, I think. So you had 11 quarterback movement. So essentially a third of his dropbacks, or a little bit less than a third, about a quarter. I can do math. So about a quarter of his dropbacks essentially are moving the pocket. And I think that's really how it should be. And it started early. The Chargers hold the Eagles. They force a punt or whatever happened. I can't really remember at this point. But you're at the goal line, first down. You just want to get some breathing room. And on the second play, they roll Justin Herbert out, and he targets Keenan Allen. Unfortunately, it's an incomplete pass, but it's a great concept. I love the way that this is working. You have Steven Anderson coming on a short over. You have Keenan Allen going on a little bit of a deep over. Mike Williams working deep. And then you have Jalen Guyton in the flat. So I really like this concept. It it worked for the most part. Keenan Allen gets open. Justin Herbert just sails a little bit. We've seen him kind of start a little slow in some games. And so I think that's kind of what you chalk this up to. Just hadn't been in a rhythm yet. And so the ball sails a little bit. It went right through Keenan's hands. So, that's fine. I care more about the process at this point. And this rollout play really set the tone for the rest of the day. And, I really like this specific concept because one of the things that they had been seeing from opposing teams is that when Justin Herbert is clearly a rollout attempt, you see opposing edge rushers just crash towards him. They're not even going for the fake. They're not doing a standard rush. They're just, free rusher, go tee off on Justin Herbert. And we've seen them, opposing teams, be successful in that. So what I like about this specific concept is that it's a little bit of a play action attempt, not necessarily a straight rollout. Like a lot of rollouts, what happen is that you do a stretch play where you're doing a wide zone attempt. So you see the running back kind of angle more towards the tackles, and then the quarterback kind of has a longer route to the rollout. So this is more kind of a delayed play action boot. And I really like it because Austin Eckler is staying in for protection. That it ensures that this free rusher that is coming cannot just tee off on Justin Herbert. So you have a delayed route by Donald Parham, and then you have a delayed bootleg concept, and Austin Eckler is staying in for protection. So Parham is going to block and release, and then Austin Eckler is going to take over for him, and then Herbert will roll out under him. So I really like this concept. Again, really wish that it had worked out, but I mean, it makes sense, right? You alter your game plan of trying to get Justin Herbert on the move, just do some little tweaking. And, if this is just a slightly better ball, it's a 20-yard gain easily with room for more to be 25-30. So I really like that one. And then this is a different kind of concept. Again, you're going to move the pocket for Justin Herbert. This is the Steven Anderson touchdown. And you want this to look like you're about to run, a stretch run play or an off tackle run. And Steven Anderson really does a good job selling this. I would like the connection between Joshua Kelly and Justin Herbert to be a little bit more fine tuned there. But again, this is a simple way to ensure that your quarterback has time to, make this throw. And we've seen them run this kind of play very similarly in Baltimore, which resulted in Jared Cook's touchdown. And really, you only had the two over routes by these tight ends. So you see here, Donald Parham and Jared Cook up top. Now you add the wrinkle of Steven Anderson faking like he's going to block, and then he's going to roll out himself and match with Justin Herbert. And that is as easy a pitch and catch as you can possibly imagine for a guy like Justin Herbert. And I said this on the show, selfishly loved that. That was Steven Anderson. Loved the way that he's playing right now. So here's the back angle. Wanted to show this one. So again, just a slight fake. Again, I would love that connection to be a little bit more tight knit, but great release by Steven Anderson. Great concept. And I love just a little tweak of that one. So the other thing that the Chargers did in terms of protecting Justin Herbert was they really leaned into the run pass option game. So, Justin Herbert and Joe Lombardi have been criticized for the emphasis of the quick game, but it has a very clear mission, and that it gives your quarterback easy completions and it allows him to stay protected. Now, I do agree that him having the most quick game dropbacks in the league is probably not ideal. I'd like to see that come down. But in this one, they really did a lot of cool designs out of the RPO stuff. And so that to me is the balance, right? Like you're trying to allow Justin Herbert to stay protected. You're trying to throw defenses off. And there's just some like standard RPO stuff, right? But what I love about this Donald Parham touchdown is you have Senyo Kalemete is at the right tackle spot. Storm Norton is on the left side at tight end. So he does the whole I'm an eligible receiver thing, and he lines up on the opposite side. So this is selling run. You have a heavy package. You put your right tackle next to Rashawn Slater. You have a power back Larry Roundtree in the back. This is a heavy set, and you're going to sell the run. if you RPO out of this, I love it. This is a fantastic play design. And again, this is one of Joe Lombardi's better calls of the season. You get Donald Parham, who is just this maniac of a tight end, 6'8", super athletic, super nimble, and you're going to isolate him in space. But look at this. Look at this run play that comes out of this from the Chargers too. You know, if they hand this ball off to Larry Roundtree, Michael Schofield is right in that spot. There's no guarantee that Larry Roundtree makes that play, of course, and we've seen that kind of be a struggle. But the play design is truly fantastic. Now you get the RPO fake, you get the defense to really sell out, and Donald Parham, 6'8", 250, 260 pounds, gets a one-on-one matchup in space against Darius Slay, who's like 5'10", 190. I don't even know. I haven't looked up the official listing, but that's a massive mismatch in space for a guy like Donald Parham. And of course, he makes the play. So, you know, I love the way that these RPOs came about in this specific game plan from Joe Lombardi. And I think it really allowed Justin Herbert to get into a rhythm, and it allowed the Chargers playmakers the opportunity to make plays like this. So, yeah, it's a quick game drop back, and you know, you see that quick game drop back tally increase by 1. But this is an amazing play designed by Joe Lombardi and the rest of his staff, and it works out in a big advantage for the Chargers. So I have a hard time finding criticism of this. And again, if you run this ball, you hand this ball off, it's probably a touchdown. Probably not, because it's like Roundtree. Sorry, that was mean. But I love this play design. The Chargers did so many cool stuff like this, so much cool stuff like this. Excuse me. And we're going to see another one right after this. So this particular play, you start out in the pistol. Again, you're in kind of a run-oriented package. You have your fullback tight end on the left side. You're in 3 receiver set. You motion up from pistol to the traditional set. And this is a really cool RPO design. You're going to motion Josh Palmer out this way, and then you're going to bring Steven Anderson kind of in the flat route behind him as well. And Mike Williams is going to clear out on the right-hand side. So you do that RPO fake. Josh Sweat sells completely out on Austin Eckler because the Chargers have been running the ball so effectively. And you're going to move the pocket for Justin Herbert. And you're just going to get an easy completion to Josh Palmer for an easy 15 yards on first down. Now, when you do this same kind of concept on a different play, maybe Josh Palmer gets that attention, and maybe Mike Williams gets that route over the top, and he goes for 6. So everything that Joe Lombardi was doing in this game was really setting things up for down the road. And I think, like I said, this was a fantastic play design, and it makes total sense, right? Like, you get your super athletic quarterback out in space, and you allow your playmakers to go make a play. So the one thing I will say, you know, they did run an RPO earlier in this game. This was pretty, I think, in the third quarter. There was an RPO that they were running to Steven Anderson, and him and Justin Herbert were like a little too close. You know, Steven Anderson was going too flat, and Herbert was going too wide. So I think there can be some tweaking there in that specific instance. Maybe Herbert can kind of threaten a little bit more upfield on this one as well. Again, the guy's wide open. You have Steven Anderson who's also wide open. So hard to critique this particular play. But just in the future, I would like to see Herbert be a little bit more threatening upfield as opposed to going flat or wide. All right. So I love the protection plan from that standpoint. You embrace the quarterback movement for Justin Herbert. Now it's all about, okay, we can't do that on every play. What are we doing to stop this rush from getting after Herbert in a traditional sense? And that's what we'll target next. So obviously, I tweeted this play out, and I wanted to bring it up again because this is all about Rashawn Slater. First of all, in terms of the protection plan, right? Like, Javon Hargrave is the defensive tackle over Matt Filer. Fletcher Cox is over Michael Schofield in between. He's in the C gap, or the B gap, excuse me, over in between Schofield and Norton. So traditionally, right, like Fletcher Cox would get this double team. Now it's going towards Javon Hargrave. So Corey Linsley is going to play the helper here. He's going to make sure that Matt Filer has the space. Eagles don't really blitz. Austin Eckler is going to do a this is a bad chip, but it's a slight chip. Just make sure that his presence is felt, and then he's going to do a delayed route. So that's one way you can make things easier. I know that Rashawn Slater against the Browns didn't really like the way that the running backs were chipping, but as long as your running back is making his presence felt right there and not allowing your edge rusher and a wide nine technique to really turn the corner around your tackle, then you're doing fine. Other than that, this play is really about Rashawn Slater, in my opinion. The other guys do a great job, but the best way to take a wide nine and make it an advantage is to do a jump set, which is what you see him doing. And the get off here is incredible. And so he's going to do a jump set, and then he's got to anchor down against a Derek Barnett speed to power rush. Like that's what this is. And look at this throw, or look at this throwing lane that Rashawn Slater and then the rest of the guys give him. So this is throwing left all the way. Rashawn Slater has to, close this gap and take on this speed to power rush. And he does that at such a high level. He's so good, you guys. I just can't. Like, it's so amazing watching him and all the different ways that he can win his one-on-one matchups. And that was his strength, right? That was what I said in the film room after the Chargers drafted him, is that this guy can win in any kind of way. And you see that on display here. Just one more time on Rashawn Slater and go over the rest of the guys here. So I don't have the fancy graphics like Tyler. I'm working on it. But, hopefully you guys are still kind of with me on this one. So the rest of the way, I really love the way that Corey Linsley does this particular play. He makes sure that Javon Hargrave cannot come inside. So this helps Matt Filer out because he knows that he has help on his right side. So this really allows you more flexibility as an offensive lineman to kind of direct this matchup. And I think he does a fine job here. Apparently his name is Anchor, and I think he does anchor down pretty solidly here. And once Corey Linsley knows that he has that Matt Filer has his thing taken care of, his assignment taken care of, he goes and looks for work. Love that about Corey Linsley. He's always looking for extra work. And this is an ideal pocket. No one is within a yard of Justin Herbert. Again, some of that is concept. They're doing a specific quick play right here to keep him clean. But they had other options down the field. Like the Eagles are far from a great secondary. And if Justin Herbert had wanted to kind of give his second or third reads more chances in this one, he could have done that because A, the protection plan was solid. The offensive line did their assignments very, very well. And C, the Eagles secondary is not great, as Alex mentioned on our show. So great job over here. Starts with Rashawn Slater, though. It really does. All right, next specific play that I wanted to mention on this one. It's a problem solver one by Corey Linsley. And this is something that he himself has talked about several times about the offensive line, and specifically his role as center is that you have to be able to figure out how to solve problems when they arise. And so the Eagles do a nice little stunt here. Excuse me. Still getting over a little cold. I don't know if anybody else has had a cold for like 2 weeks, but that's what I feel like. So the Eagles do a nice little blitz here. They're going to drop their edge rusher, and they're going to take Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave and run to the left, and then the linebacker is going to go up the middle up the A gap. So it's a nice little concept, right? Like you get Javon Hargrave in this kind of role. Like typically, Javon Hargrave wins that matchup, and he probably gets a sack or at least creates a pressure. So I don't count this as a pressure because of the way that Corey Linsley recovers from this one. But anytime you have that wide of a gap in between your two linemen, in this case, Linsley and Michael Schofield, it's not ideal. So the way that Corey Linsley, creates a positive play for Justin Herbert is truly outstanding. And he's just going to run Hargrave. You're taking yourself out of the play. He's just going to run you right past and creates a really nice throwing lane by Justin Herbert. And again, look at that guy, Rashawn Slater over there, man. Like Josh Sweat is no scrub, and he's just like chilling on an island. Dude has vice grips all long. So this play by Corey Linsley recovering and making this play happen for Justin Herbert gives him a really nice alley. And he solved that problem by being flexible and having elite recovery skills. So let's go back here and watch Rashawn Slater. So again, I mentioned everybody on the Eagles line after they drop Barnett is all going to go left. So Rashawn Slater is going to take on Josh Sweat here, and he's just going to do a really good job. Great communication, great blitz pickup by him and Matt Filer picking up 57. And dude just has vice grips, man. Like, you're not getting past him. All right, last play that I wanted to talk about is actually a play about Jalen Guyton as a blocker. Dude is really making some good strides as a blocker. So is Trey McKitty, who I could also talk about for a little bit here. But wanted to focus in on the protection plan. McKitty had a great day as a run blocker, and has kind of made Gabe Neighbors pointless at this point. All right, next one here. So again, this is all about the plan of protection. And the Chargers do two things here. They're going to get a double chip for Storm Norton by Jared Cook and Josh Kelly. And then Jalen Guyton is going to give a hell of a chip for Rashawn Slater. Again, Rashawn Slater doesn't need this help, but I love watching this stuff happen. That is a great chip by Jalen Guyton. We'll watch that one more time. I think I might have gotten the double chip wrong. This might be a different play. Yeah, no double chip on this one. I'm sorry. So you get a delayed chip and route by both Jalen Guyton and Jared Cook. So we'll watch Jalen Guyton first, because this made me happy. Like, you see him do a great job of closing the gap for the wide nine. Hell of a throw by Justin Herbert also. And that's another way that you can, shorten the distance between your offensive tackle and the wide nine technique, is give a great chip. And that's what Jalen Guyton does here. And then Rashawn Slater takes him on, anchors down. Fantastic work. And it creates just a great throwing lane for Justin Herbert. Like, I understand the criticism of Joe Lombardi, of not trying to, he's not forcing the ball down the field as much as people like. But we never saw pockets like this last year for Justin Herbert. Never, never, never. So the protection plans has just been so executed at such a higher level than the previous regime. And then again, just a hell of a throw by Justin Herbert. All right, we'll go back and watch Jared Cook, see what he does here. Again, this is more about the threat of Jared Cook, the chipper, as opposed to like the actual chip. It's not really a good chip. But what happens is that Storm Norton, Michael Schofield, and Corey Linsley do a fantastic job of taking on that stunt. So there it is. They had a really good protection plan. I mentioned the double chip play. I must not have recorded it, but it was really funny to watch. I think it was Donald Parham chipped, and then Joshua Kelly chipped, and then Storm Norton was like, okay, this is easy. So Chargers had a great protection plan all around. Now the question is going to be, will they be able to keep doing this kind of plan at this kind of level when they play a more aggressive defense? Because the Eagles didn't blitz a whole lot. I only counted like 5 or 6 plays where they blitzed. The Vikings are going to blitz a ton. And the Vikings do this double A gap blitz scheme where it's a different form of cover zero. And we'll see it, I'm sure, many, many times on Sunday, where they'll put Eric Kendricks and Nick Vigil or Anthony Barr both in the A gaps. And then they have their 4 defensive linemen after them. And you have to figure out who's coming, who's dropping. So it's a similar challenge to what the Ravens did, and I'm very excited to see how this group handles that. So that's going to do it for me today. I hope you guys learned and appreciated the offensive line breakdown and kind of the schematics of what went into the protection plan that we heard about so much this past week. So as always, please leave a comment, like the videos, subscribe to the channel. We do really appreciate all the positive feedback. And the negative feedback if you think I was wrong, or if you think that I can do better a certain way. And again, I'm hoping to get the shiny graphics like Tyler has pretty soon here. So really excited about that one. So that's going to do it for me today. As you can see, we have the links to our 2 sponsors in the description, and you can go find the Backroom Collection. Again, great Christmas present idea. In my opinion, I personally love this canvas that I have here. I always point to the wrong shoulder. Anyways, great stuff. Happy to be here, and thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.